I absolutely love and adore the Little Nightmares franchise. Ever since the game first came out, way back in uh 2017. Holy crap. I was in 8th grade when this game came out. Holy crap. Holy. This cozy, terrifying horror experience has always stood out to me from other games and other genres of media. Especially at the time when it came out. Little Nightmares actually inspired me to really consider pursuing a potential career in art. I know, you probably wouldn't think that since my art style looks very Cuphead-esque, but trust me, this game was a stepping stone. After Little Nightmares 1 and 2, I cannot tell you how excited I was when I heard that 3 would be made. But when I heard that Tossier Studios wasn't working on the project and Supermassive Games was taking over, I immediately got worried. For those of you who don't know, Tossier Studios wasn't fired or laid off by Bandai Namco. Tossier Studios was actually bought by the Embracer Group way back in the December in 2019. And this group wanted Tossier to create new games. I would argue that this is a divine intervention, and Tossier Studios did state that Little Nightmares 2 was going to be the last Little Nightmares game that they were going to make anyway. Honestly, now that I think about it, maybe they were saying that because that's when they were bought by the new studio, but whatever. Now, they're working on Reanimal. Honestly, thank God. I'm really happy to see Tossier work at their full potential, as it seems that they're able to have more creative freedom with how grotesque they want to make this new game. Okay, enough yapping. It's time for me to finally talk about Little Nightmares 3. I
Well, this sucks.
like the game, actually. I actually like this game a lot. Now, is it peak compared to its other predecessors? I'm not counting Very Little Nightmares because it's a mobile game. No, I don't. I can confidently say that this game cannot even hold a candle up to 1 and 2. How can you even compete with the other two games? I feel like you really can't. Little Nightmares 1 was A tier, and the second game was S tier. How can you top what those two games have achieved? In the defense of Supermassive Games, it's a pretty big and daunting task to assign a studio who wasn't the main director of two goated games to take over and care for the franchise. Those are pretty massive shoes to fill, and it almost seems unfair. But considering all the directions this game could have gone, we could have gotten a product way worse than what was given. Now, I don't want to be a doomer. Being optimistic is more my thing. But I'm not afraid to shy away from pointing out things I don't like and critiquing them. Because as an artist, I always want to see a piece of art push to its full potential and be the best it can be. To start, I want to highlight the things that I did like about Little Nightmares 3, because as I said, I do like this game, and I don't want to start the synopsis with negativity. Before I continue, I'm diving headfirst into the concrete with this one, so there will be spoilers, and I will be dissecting this game like that one bully from Little Nightmares 2 who's stabbing the frog with a key. Oh my god. The character designs of Low and Alone are so good. Mwah, mwah, delectable even. Their silhouettes are so distinguishable from each other, and their colors complement each other so well. I love Alone's green baggy outfit with her red pigtails sticking up out at the top. And the giant goggles on her face, it's just so cute. I also think the wrench fits her really well. I mean, she is Lo's imaginary friend, so it would make sense for her to be a bit of a fixer-upper. She's the one that helps keep Lo's spirits up and keeps cheering him on. Throughout the entire journey, Alone is a beacon of light in this nightmare world that aids Lo in his escape. And in a franchise like this, it's really refreshing to actually see a good character that seems to have good morals and genuinely care for each other. It's very sweet. And Lo. I love how the dreads on top of his head look like little feathers. They complement his crow mask very, very well. The little cape is super cute too. And the attention to detail to Lo having a bandage wrap around his arm to shoot the bow is so good. For those of you who don't know or have never shot a bow before, such as myself, he's wearing the bandages around his wrist so when he releases the arrow, the string doesn't snap really hard on his arm. Trust me, it stings. Sometimes, simple is better for a character design, and I definitely think they hit the nail on the head with Lo's character. I also find it really interesting how his powers are teleporting through mirrors. I mean, I'm assuming he's the only one that can do that. Or the few children that can do that, I guess. Or if the mirrors in this universe can actually spit children out, I don't know. But it's also really nice finally having a character in this franchise that has a solid goal. Wants to go home with friend and live happily ever after. Plain and simple right on the board. And it's so wholesome to see. I love seeing both of these characters interact with each other in the world. It indeed puts a smile upon my face. And I've gotta say, I actually really liked the ending of the game. It actually pulled on my heartstrings and made tears well up in my eyes. I think the reason the ending hit me so hard is because I imagined Lo as my brothers in real life, and I would do anything for them to make sure that they got home safe. And seeing Alone escort Lo out of the nightmare world is actually what I would have done. It's refreshing to see even a bittersweet ending from this franchise. As all the games previously, and I will include Very Little Nightmares for this teeny little point, all of them have been very tragic, shocking, and heartbreaking. So seeing Lo escape this nightmare world is a happy ending in my book, even when it came at the cost of Alone's life. Supermassive Games absolutely nailed the art style of Little Nightmares in terms of character design, monster designs, and environmental designs. I've always been a sucker for platformer gaming puzzles that have a rich story behind it and cool monster and character designs. And just the entire franchise has an art style I absolutely adore. It gives me a cozy horror vibe, similar to the feeling I get when I watch stop motion films. It's just art I like to consume and support. Um, let's see. The music would slap sometimes. That's it. That's all I've got for you. I will be talking more about the music in length in the negative part of the video. The sound design was actually pretty good. It was pretty decent. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that because I feel like teams behind sounds of video games in general don't get enough love. So good job, guys. You guys did great for what you had to do. And to be honest, I actually really enjoyed the mechanic of the umbrellas. I really wish there were more implemented in the game. Mainly because why would you implement a game mechanic if you only use it for a little bit, right? Right? I definitely feel like the umbrellas could have been pushed more to create a more interesting platform in puzzle solving levels. Like, okay, imagine if you had to push buttons in a certain correlation in different rooms, but the only way to get to the rooms is flying through the air with your umbrella and figure out which button needs to be pushed in order to move on to the next room. That would be so cool. And to be honest, I was a bit sad when they were taken away. I actually died jumping down to scope something out because the game didn't tell me that my umbrella was gone. But in the short time I did have the umbrella, I enjoyed it. The carnival and the asylum are easily my favorite levels in the game and stand out the most in terms of design. Listen, I'm biased. I've always loved the carnival aesthetic. I love the colors and the music that plays when you're there. The roller coaster part was cute, and oddly enough, the puppeteer has the best sound design in the game. It got a good chuckle out of me when I saw the little guy banging his bowl for food. And his chase scene has the best camera shots in the entire game. You can't tell me otherwise. It is just so good. And the asylum. Oh my god. I'm just gonna say it. The asylum is the peak of Little Nightmares 3. I was actually really surprised to see that we got plant enemies in this franchise. That's definitely something I wasn't expecting, and it was a welcome addition to the universe. Now, we're finally at the part where I can gush about this mechanic. Now, until this point, the game has been admittedly lackluster with the new mechanics, but the introduction to the little alone doll is the best thing in the entirety of Little Nightmares 3. It reminded me of Fran Bow in the best possible way. And I will tell you why the mechanic of the doll works so well. It is actively rewarding the player with new sights, visuals, and storytelling elements, encouraging exploration, which I would argue is the heart and the identity of the Little Nightmares franchise. Because, let's be honest, nobody plays Little Nightmares for the gameplay. Okay? It's a linear platforming puzzle solving game that tells its story with the environment. That's what the game thrives on and what grabs people's attention. I have no idea what Supermassive was smoking, but they just locked in on this level in particular. I almost kind of wish we had the doll implemented in the middle half of the game instead of the final quarter, because it's just such an interesting concept. And with a mechanic like that, it would make me want to take more time to explore the world and find more secrets. When I was wandering through the halls, the doll placed you back in time, showing you what everything looked like before, and I was genuinely blown away when I saw this. The gears in my head were turning trying to figure out how to even code something like that. So, good job, Supermassive Games. You get a big shiny gold star for that one. Because, my god, it is such a cool concept, and I think it was executed flawlessly. And in the Asylum is where I would argue is the most interesting and cool monster design in the entire game. The Doctor was a really cool concept. When you ring the gong the first time, and then this long snake-like thing is just pulling back for days, and it turned out to be a foot, that genuinely shocked me. I actually had to pause the game for a moment and sit and digest what I just saw, because I was honestly 100% thinking it was gonna be a snake or some sort of plant creature or something. So I was pleasantly surprised. And I think the concept of this titan holding together a giant building with its own limbs tangled amongst the brick and the walls is really neat. The boss fight was pretty cool, and the visuals for that were pretty stunning. Overall, Little Nightmares 3 was okay. But, ladies and gentlemen, before you click off, I have something to tell you. I'm not done talking about this game. Although I did pick it out for all the things I did like, there are also a lot of things I didn't like about the game. And so I don't lose my sanity trying to make a video and edit a video that's an hour long, because I'm new to this YouTube thing. I don't want to burn myself out, and I want my videos to be palatable and not that long for me. We're gonna have to make a part two of this. So stay in tune for that. I don't know when that's gonna come out. Hopefully pretty soon. But, if you like what you saw, go ahead, hit like and subscribe, and, yeah. Alright, ladies and gents, have a good evening and a good night. God bless. See you later.